how weak men think and how it destroys them. First, understand the importance of why this should be talked about. We live in a tolerant world, and no one understands that tolerance breeds weakness. Look at Rome, for example. Rome fell because of tolerance. They were born out of an intolerant nation, right? Which made them strong. But as they started to become tolerant over time, it made all of the males weak. Now, this thinking has crept into society today. This is why we have weak men. And weak men are easy to control, which is why we look around, we have weak and feminine men who lash out of their emotions. Let's say some of these men happen to get broken up with or cheated on with their girlfriend, right? These men will loathe them around and cry. Oh, I knew it wasn't. I knew she didn't like me. She left me. I don't know what to do. I just want to kill myself. Weak babies. They lash out over anything, right? These men, they do not have any semblance of control in their brain. These weak men, they will lash out at anything, right? We have these weak, degenerate men. Here's what they do, and this is how their internal dialogue sound. Oh man, nothing ever goes right for me. I'm a loser. I can't do it. I'm depressed. All of it's excuses. Garbage. Why are you believing in this garbage? Who told you to believe these things? Who shifted your internal dialogue to be that of a weakling, right? No man should want to think weakly. You shouldn't want to think like a weakling. You should get rid of that immediately. You should start to think Preme, right? So these men have been programmed to think in a certain way, which allows them to be weak, and they use all of their weakness as an excuse of why they can't get around in life. These men's lives look this way. These weak, effeminate men, they act like girls. As soon as something discomfortable happens, they're crying. Babies, right? I'm not talking about controlled crying while achieving and hitting push-ups. I'm talking about these people will cry and sit in front of the TV screen, crying and scroll TikTok. So these weak men, instead of them trying to solve their problems, they instantly go to distractions and they wonder why their life is garbage. Dummies, weenies. All of these men who distract their mind, the reason they distract their mind, fill it up with video games, fill it up with all of the distractions, all of the pornography. The reason they do this is because they don't want to try and solve their problems because it'd be hard. But I want them to understand something. You shouldn't want to be them also. That's why I'm saying this. But I'm a professional. I'm getting my point across. I want them to understand that either way, life is going to be hard. You have two potential paths as a man. You either live a life of a weak man, sit in front of the TV screen, distraction, and feel the pain of regret of not being the best you can be, or you face the pain of discipline, of discomfort, and become competent than ever before and become great. Either way, it's both suffering. Do you want to suffer and be a weak man who didn't live up to his potential? When you take a look at some of these men, look at their body, they're skinny fat. Look at their minds, they can't control their mind. Because we can tell if a man have at least a tiny amount of fire if you can look at his body and see if it's strong. It shows discipline. You cannot buy discipline, right? You cannot buy a body that was built through training, rigorous training. So when we look at weak men, first they're skinny fat, they don't train, they quit training, they opt out of women and instead for pornography and video games to distract their mind. I see these men everywhere. They live a life of hedonism and pleasure. A life of hedonism and pleasure leads to nothing. It leads to ruin. That's all it leads to. So it doesn't make sense as to why these men don't understand that that's why their life is the way that it is. That's why their life is garbage. because they lack mind control. So some of these men come to me and say, Preme, this girl just left me. I don't know what to do. I said, good. Oh, what do you mean good? I said, good. You now have a story. Instead of you sitting and crying about it, perhaps you can start to level up. No wonder she left you. I start to look at him up and down, and I start to think, no wonder she left you. Because first, he has a skinny, fat body. He doesn't train. What is the first tenet of masculinity? Always, all the way since the dawn of human time, a man had to be a man through strength. Because back then we were in a tribal era. We were in a tribal area where the men had to protect the tribe, the children and the women. So they had to be strong. They had to have a certain physicality. So if you lack that, that's the first tenet. If you lack that, how can that woman even trust you in the midst of combat? Oh, well, I have a gun. What? What if you don't have a gun at all times? Then what? So you can't even protect her. That's why she left you. These men, these weak, effeminate men. Secondly, you spend all of your time smoking weed and distracted and playing video games. Every spare second that you have, you're distracted playing video games. So I'm looking at him like, bro, that's why she left you. Third, he's emotionally lacking fortitude. As soon as something bad happened or somebody says something wrong to him, something that he disliked, he's lashing out like a girl, trying to bash the other person's head in. Weak, effeminate men, they're easily to be controlled. They're controlled by words. If I can sit here and say a certain word that makes you mad and angry and upset, well, then you're a weak, effeminate man. Then you're controlled, right? Because emotional arguments are made to be emotional, to make that person get mad at a certain word or evoke emotion with a certain word. And if you allow yourself to be emotionally manipulated, you become a weak, effeminate man, and nothing right ever happens in your life. So you don't want to be like these men. These men are absolute bottom of the barrel peasants. We have degenerate pedophilic men with these men who just opt out for comfort and pleasure. That's the men we have. When these men do not practice stoicism, the ability to control and harness your emotions and use it for positivity, if they don't do that, then we have weak, effeminate men. And we have degenerates. And we have who just sit around and smoke weed and jack off and sit in front of the TV screen. We have those type of men. So this is why I'm attempting to bring back the strong mentality which held men together in the first place, which is why I have 78 men currently all inside of Preme Operations, the free Telegram, t.me/Preme Operations, or the link in the description. All 78 men in there understand these fundamental truths. And I'm saying this to them every day. And we're working together as we should, as men should, because guess what happens when men come together? As I just mentioned, tolerance leads to weakness, and hard times create strong men through blood and flame. So now we're living in a hard time, which the time before caused the men to become weak. But now we're living in a hard time, which will enable every single man watching this to become strong. You can now become stronger than ever before. You can now get rid of all of the garbage which tried to keep you locked in. You shouldn't want to be like these weaklings, right? Because with these different systems of which the Matrix operate, it seems harmless, and that's the problem. People think, oh, well, I can watch a little TV, or I can watch a little distractions, or it's nothing. You have to understand how reality works. Death by 1,000 cuts. If we were to stand a person who just stands there, and we take like a butter knife or something, we take a butter knife and we just slice at him 1,000 times, he will bleed out to death. So people understand that, but they don't understand that all of these little bits of time going to this distraction, that distraction, that distraction, that distraction, all of your time ends up death by 1,000 cuts. So people end up right back into the space where they didn't want to go. This is weak men. They're babies. They're weenies. And I call these men goofy gooners. So these men are goofy gooners. They dedicate their lives to scrolling TikTok. They dedicate their lives to watching all these garbage streamers. They dedicate their lives to pleasure and hedonism, to drugs and alcohol and parties. And these men are mentally broken. It's the reason why when they walk into these social situations, they're anxious, they're depressed, they're thinking in their mind, oh, what if she doesn't like me? Oh, I want her to like me. I really want her to like me. Weak man. Weak men. He has no masculine frame. He has no frame. Where's your frame? See, this is why I say this is what we're lacking, right? And I want you to genuinely push away from this. Push away from this old identity. Push away from this thought of all this weakness which the Matrix has tried to purport. Every day you need to fight. Now, I'm not saying you can be me, Preme, perfect, because Preme is perfect, right? Preme is the perfect man of which I can't even fully reach. I strive to become Preme every single day. More Preme, more, right? So, as I said this on my last video, a lot of men just look around, they say, I don't want to listen to that streamer. I don't want to listen to him. I don't want to listen to that. I want to listen to Preme. I don't like them. I will listen to Preme. He helps me. He helps me. Ever since I started listening to Preme, my life changed. I started training. I started going to the gym. Women started loving me. I started working on myself. I found my purpose. I started working harder than ever before. I quit being distracted. I went all in and focused on myself, and everything became great because I started to listen to Preme. Duh, that's how life is supposed to be. You shouldn't want to be like these weak, effeminate men. Excuse me. You shouldn't want to be like these weak, effeminate men. Now, these weak, effeminate men, this is how they're wasting their time. They're wasting their time through a multitudinous of reasons. This is why in a couple year time span, we would all sit down and gather, and you could sit down and you could question, what did you do with your 10,000 hours? We're all the same age here, but what did you do with your 10,000 hours that is equal to or comparable to mine? What did you do? Watch TV? Scroll TikTok? Jack your cock off? Is that all you did? Is that what your ancestors died for in the ditch? For you to smoke weed and play video games? Is that it? All of it is garbage. And these are the same men who will quit. And quitters never win. Everything they start, they never finish. They never finish through. They never see it through. So all of these men, these weak men, I like to categorize them because there's weak men and there's strong men. There's peasants, there's kings and preems, right? So understand that you truly have to make a choice. Life is about choices as a man, and you're going to have to make a choice. You're going to have to be brave. You're going to have to it takes courage to be brave. Brave is doing the right thing regardless of how you feel. Brave is standing up and saying, no, I don't want to sit in front of the TV screen and waste my life away. No, I don't want to be like these weak men. No, I don't want to waste my time anymore. I want to become successful. I want to become competent. I want to become better than ever before. I want to be like Preme. You should start to remove yourself from the old pattern of thinking. All the old actions which try and keep you locked in, you must try and fight. That's why I said everything is war. All of it is war. Fighting the matrix distractions is war. Trying not to allow yourself to be tempted is war. Not giving in to the temptations is war. All of it is war. Your life as a man is war. This is why I say perhaps our life as men has changed over time, right? But it's still the same biological masculine tenets and tendencies. Strength, courage, brave, virtue, wisdom, justice, all of it is the same. You should seek to become those things rather than seek to live a life of hedonism and pleasure. because it won't lead to any good. It's a black hole. It's like eating the same food every single day, and you start to taste the same food every single day. You're like, man, I don't even want this anymore. That's the life of pleasure. It's like an endless stuffing, and you don't feel anything anymore. You start to become numb. So you shouldn't want to do that. You shouldn't want to live that way. So you need to get rid of that thought, right? You should seek to become Preme. Preme is a fantastic force in any plane of existence. I say any plane of existence because the spiritual, mental, and physical, on all three planes, Preme is a fantastic competitor. Doesn't matter what we're doing. When Preme rolls up, Preme, that's Preme. Oh my, it's Preme. If we had to do a competition, it could be something I don't even know how to do. Not Preme, I gotta go against, no, not Preme. That's how it's supposed to be. You shouldn't want to be like these weak men. These weak men haven't made a name for themselves. These weak men, they just sit around and do nothing. They don't have any success. Women don't love them. Men don't respect them. They don't even respect themselves. They look at themselves in the mirror with disgust. You shouldn't want to be that. You should get rid of that. It's all complete garbage. And that is the message the Matrix is trying to purport upon you. They want to keep you weak. They want to keep you effeminate. Because if they can do that, you won't find success. Because the second you stand up, it's a threat to them. So do not be afraid. Do not be afraid of the crabs in a bucket that will try to bring you down as you start to ascend. Forget them. Fuck them. The people can't stop you. As long as you listen to Preme, you're going to keep going. Because I'm one of the only people online that genuinely want you to free your mind. These other people don't care about you. The media machine doesn't care about you. Why would they care about you? All they seek to do is to keep you entertained. And if they keep you entertained long enough, you will forget about all of your problems that you need to solve. For example, I know some weak men like this. It's some weak men. They come to me, oh, Preme, I want to start this business. I need to make more money. I say, okay, we'll start to make more money. Well, what are you doing right now? Are you watching the Super Bowl? Yeah, I'm watching the Super Bowl. It's off day. What are you talking about, an off day? You don't deserve an off day. Your life is not together. Your mind is not together. You talking about an off day? Why are you coming to me saying you need more money for a bill? And you're watching the Super Bowl. Gambling like jackasses. It's so easy to win, which is why me and all of the 78 men who are in Preme operations in my free Telegram, which is why we're all winning. We're Mastermind Brotherhood. So I want you to understand that these people all are the same. All of the weak men are the same. They love their comfort. They want to stay comfortable because they don't have to try. They know as long as they do enough action that'll get them by, like going to work, barely working on their business, barely working, then going back to Pornhub. Cut that out. Drop it. All of it. It's all garbage and it's all a multitudinous moozop, bizop, bullshit operation to keep your mind trapped. This is why I call my operations Preme operations. It's to seek to get men who are seeking to get untrapped, that knows there's something to the world that I have yet to figure out. How are these men doing all these fantastic things? Especially the men who are like, man, I have all this money. I have a good job, or my business is successful, and yet what else is it? It's still like something missing. I'm having all this money. What else is still missing? The missing piece. I talked about this on my last video. The missing piece, mind control. They don't teach you that. They teach you how to make money in school. They don't even teach you how to make money in school. Let me correct. They don't even teach you how to make money in school. They don't even teach you how to control your mind, right? So this is why this information is way much more valuable than even going to 4 years of college. Everything I just said in here just propelled you into the 1% without even going to college. I didn't learn this in college, surely. I went to college, Start to learn about polar bears. Dropped out, became successful than never before. Start to focus on myself, learn about mind control, learn how to talk to women and navigate reality. Reality started to bend. I started to become successful. Made a bunch of money. Business shot up 5,000%. My girlfriend died. I used that as fuel and I shot up. Made more money in 1 month than ever before. So this is how you need to think. That's why I say think Preme. When things is going bad, when things is going wrong, you need to blink and pizzazz your brain and think Preme. When things is going bad and you're starting to think like these worthless losers, sit in front of the TV, you need to blink, pizzazz your brain and think Preme, right? So you need to develop a certain level of mind control, which will enable you to navigate reality in a way which will bring you about the results that you want. And once you do this, you start to push away from the old identity. They want to keep you chained. The Matrix has tried to keep you chained to an identity which they created for you, right? They don't want you to think like Preme, because how do I think? I sit down and think every bad thing that has happened to me, it was supposed to happen to me because I am a superhero and I will get through regardless. I don't care what it is. All of my cars can break. All of my houses can be took. I can go out to the wilderness with no food and fast, and I still will win. Women can leave me. Money can leave me. I still will win. That's the mind of Preme. That's why I say you need pizzazz. And I walk through the earth with pure pizzazz. And I'm not saying this to boast, but I'm trying to implore this mindset upon you. This is a mindset that is not affected by all of the weakness which the Matrix try and purport. There's a list of weaknesses I want you to genuinely think about. I'm going to take a pause break. Think about all of the weaknesses of which the Matrix and people tried to purport upon you. And you knew it was weak, but you still did it. Just think about that for a second. Now, all of that can be solved and got rid of with the missing piece, mind control, which is what I teach. So you should start to train more. So start to train your mind daily. You should go harder than ever before. You should focus all of your time and energy into continuing to work. For example, me. Instead of me doing all these distractions, how the weak men do, I spend all of my time and energy continuing to work. Pop out 3 podcasts, continue more. Exactly. What you mean we only made $300,000 yesterday? More. I don't want that. I live a life of more. Raw, full, massive action. That's all I want. All I want to do is work. I don't want to party with the peasants and weaklings. I don't want to sit around and drink and laugh out my problems. I want to work and fix all of my problems. That's all I want to do. Is continue to work. That's it. That's it. And that's the mind you need if you truly want to be a successful man. If you truly want to be a strong man, that is the mind you need. You need mind control. Mind control is the key solution to all of your problems. Because if you can control yourself, you can control reality and get the results that you want. Money is easy once you control your mind. Women is easy once you control your mind. Getting over heartbreak and depression is easy once you control your mind. Perhaps some of you haven't controlled your mind yet, but this is why I'm teaching you how. I'm telling you what to do. Just blink and pizzazz your brain. When you feel yourself stuck, when you feel yourself loathing around in self-pity like a weakling, you must blink and pizzazz your brain. Get up and do. Just do something. You have to do something. I don't care what it is. So when these men try and come back to me in the future, I just ask them, okay, what did you do with all your 10,000 hours? I know what I did. I mastered sales. I mastered how to speak. I did everything I needed to do. I was training everything and doing everything. I remember training. I remember trying to make more money. Those are the things you're truly going to remember in a few years, rather than being like all of these dorks and peasants coming back in a few years and can't even recollect their time. They can't even tell you where the time went. It's just like one big glob of time. Just think back to last month. But this is how the human mind works. Think back to last month. You can't even truly think about what has happened with your time. Nobody truly can, but you can remember the significant portions of the month. For example, I can remember last month exactly what I did. Trained, made more money, control my brain. That's it. You will remember doing that in a few years. You won't remember doing all of the TikTok, all of the garbage which seeks to keep your mind trapped. You won't remember none of that, but you will remember trying to work hard, trying to train, learning how to fight, learning to control your mind, making more money, finding your purpose. You'll remember all of that. So that's how you should spend your time rather than like these weaklings. So I'm going to end it right here. Hopefully that solved all of the weakness and explained to you to move away from the old identity which seeks to keep you trapped. And I genuinely want you to join us on the mission. 78 other men already fighting on this mission. You should join together with us. You're going to need a brotherhood. We're all on the same mission, so you might as well join. You can click the link in the description. It is totally free. And if you can't do that, we'll stay a loser. Join the peasants. I want people who's on the inside who understand I want to be strong. I do not want to be weak. And those are the men that will succeed in this reality. And those are the men who get what they want and take what they want.